Welcome to Baseball Biz on Deck. I am Mark Corbett, and with me today, of course, is Mr. Matt Germain with another Rays Up edition of Baseball Biz on Deck. We're glad to have you here, and we've got plenty to talk about because what's happening, Matt?
It is opening day's eve.
That's right, everybody. So I hope you've got everything, your pencil sharpened, you're ready to go ahead and get your scorecard out. Do you have your list and your rosters, folks? We're going to kind of give you a hand with some of that. We've got a lot of silly stuff and some important stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll even talk about some of the Rays and where they've landed, like Mr. Snell finally. Tommy Pham still seems to be out in the wind, but a lot of crazy things too much. So, Matt, what's going on, brother? Here we are, opening days tomorrow, and what should we be prepared with?
Should be prepared to enjoy some highlights from new names, some highlights from old names that we're well aware of, and just be excited for the whole ambiance of. First of all, it's a divisional rival we're playing, so the game matters quite a bit. You only get 13 games against your divisional opponents now. So they want to start off with a win. They're seeing the other team's ace. And it's going to be exciting. Full crowd. I heard it's a sellout. So it should be loud and it should be very Rays fun entertainment as well.
I'm excited about it too, brother. But, the one thing I've noticed is a campaign. It's been going out with the Rays quite a bit now lately. And that is saying, we're here to stay, just in case anybody was concerned about a new stadium being built. And we'll probably cover some of that on another episode. There's still some paperwork to be signed, people, but it's, it looks like they're making a commitment, and certainly their PR department has. So I'm excited about opening day. I mean, there's no other day like it. And for opening day, we've got our ace pitching, man. Who's it? Zach Eflin?
It is, and he's had stronger starts as the spring went along, so I think he's just getting into his groove. So expecting really solid outing from him tomorrow.
Yeah, he's going to be up against, I believe, Jose Berrios.
That's right.
Now, Jose, I'm looking last year. Let's see, he pitched 32 games, 192.2. I'll just say 190 innings. Had a 4.78 ERA. Yeah, I know. A win-loss record. So he was 11 and 12 in 2023. It's his first losing season since 2016.
Yeah, he wasn't getting the run support last year, if I remember correctly. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I remember a lot of his starts where he pitched a really solid game and then they just weren't putting up many points to support him. Sometimes that happens. That's why wins are not really a great barometer for pitching value.
Yeah, God knows we've seen enough of those games. Let's see. Now, here's where I have some questions for you, Mr. Matt. And that's right, brother. I'm looking there on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and I've seen you say this at least once. Mm-hmm. And you said that during this 4-game homestand, this opening day 4 stand this week, you said the Rays are going to give up 2 of them to the Blue Jays.
Well, they're not going to give them. The Jays are going to have to earn them. But yeah, I think with every season, it's good to tame expectations in the first series. If you end up getting pleasantly surprised, that's great. I just think that Kevin Gossman's most recent start was pretty solid. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to get the 4th game or not. I'm guessing they probably might push him to do it, even if it's 3 innings, because they like I said, they want to win the games against the Rays. And I think by then the Rays will have 2 wins. So I'm anticipating the fact that Tyler Alexander is coming in to that last start, that there's a possibility that he might get knocked around a little bit, or the person coming in behind him will. So I'm saying that that's one loss. And then the other one is just basically looking at, like you said, Jose Berrios is a tremendous pitcher. The Rays have a lot of lineup changes they made recently. They don't have all the strong lefties. Brandon Lau hasn't been knocking the ball around like crazy this spring. So left-handed wise, they're kind of weak in the lineup. So really you're depending on righties doing damage against a righty, and that can work out well sometimes, but I'm expecting Berrios to be pretty strong tomorrow. They'll have a fresh pen to work with. They do have some pen injuries though. So that's why I'm saying the second, third one probably to the Rays, and then the 4th one maybe to the Jays. But that's just a a guess, and the Rays certainly can win all four if they want.
Well, yeah, and I mean, right now, all we can really look at and depend upon is looking at what happened in spring training. And there's so many of these games that are out there that are either split squad or the stars may be out there a couple of innings or not at all. And it's difficult to tell because I was looking at let's see if I got it here, the win losses for spring training. And the Rays, oh, out of the 15 teams in the Grapefruit League, Rays had a losing record of 407, and they were 13th out of 15 teams. So
Yeah.
let's hope that's not a reflection of what this upcoming season has to offer. I don't think it will be, but hey, stranger things. Speaking of stranger things, something completely random. I yeah, I know. I was me go off topic. Uh, it was it was in the news the other day. There's a musical coming here to Tampa, so something you might want to see after the game. It's called Stranger Things. There's a Stranger Things from Netflix is being turned into a musical. I thought I'd seen enough of Taylor and Hamilton to for theater for a while, but no, we're breaking through with some new ground here, folks. With Stranger Things, the musical.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Oh my! Well, I'll tell you what. We'll see if we get a musical of what the season be like. But again, looking at the spring training here, you know what was interesting? Just what a few days ago, Willie Adames, man, he got 3 home runs in one game. Wow.
Yep. I love to see Willie have success. It's always great. I never, even if it's against the Rays, I still enjoy it. Is it smile is infectious, and I'm sure he was beaming after the third one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll walk out. I love him all the more. But again, it's spring training. But any way you go about it, 3 home runs in a single game is amazing. And
Yeah.
then Mr. Pepio for the Rays, he did pretty well.
That was much needed. I think not only us, but he needed that kind of confidence. It wasn't just, the command that he showed. It was more of making sure that some of his pitches were working effectively and getting the swings and misses he needed. And everything that was hit off him was only allowed 2 hits in 6 innings, 1 walk. That's huge. So the AKs are nice bonus. But I'm hoping that he can manage something similar when he faces the Texas Rangers, they're not going to be an easy opponent by any means.
No, but still, uh, I thought he was kind of an unknown, but he's certainly proved himself. I mean, as far as Rays fans have any experience of seeing Pepio, so that was really good to see him pulling that out. Oh, let's see, brother. Oh, just taking a look. You know, at closing up spring training. I was mentioning that 2 times Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell finally got a contract with the Giants, 2 years for $62 million. They
I
say
still,
he'll. Hmm?
I still can't believe it's that cheap. Like, if you look back at MLBTR and what they had guesstimated for some of these guys, like they're almost $100 million under what he was expected, or 150 million in Blake Snell's case. Like, you're talking huge money, and I get the network issues that people are having in terms of TV deals having an impact on the game. But to be that short term, like Blake Snell hasn't had significant health issues. It's not like he's Charlie Morton, let's say, when he left the Astros and the Rays picked him up, right? There was a whole gamut of health question marks that people were weighing that made sense. But Blake Snell is, I don't know. If people just um, understood his tools and how he can benefit them, I think more teams would. But I think a lot of them had all spent all their money by then. If he would have
Yeah.
accepted a deal like in November or December, I think he would have probably, exceeded 100 million at least. And I don't think anybody predicted less than that when his off season started. So between him and then the most recent Jordan Montgomery, I'll have to look up how much he was estimated to have from MLBTR, but it was similar. It was like over 100 million at least. And here he is, signing with the D-backs for 25 million for 1 year, and then
there's no kind of assurances. I mean, with a 1 year contract, if a pitcher gets hurt, Tommy Johns or whatever, bye bye. There's not necessarily going to invest in him in the future. I mean, they might, but I can see where that could just make it easier for them to let go of a pitcher. I mean, I look at some of these other guys we've had for a while, and I don't know. Do you know where Brendan McKay is now as far as his health?
Yeah, he threw this spring for the Rays and he looked pretty solid. I wouldn't say he's in his elite form, but if they keep him, as a 2 inning option, let's say, for the entire year, you just keep him on that role. Maybe you go up as high as 3 innings and you just build up his arm strength for this year. He could be of impact in the playoffs because his his stuff as a pitcher is elite when it's on. And I just think you want to make sure that shoulder doesn't get cranky through the year. He had a pretty serious, shoulder surgery and he had the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. So the same kind of thing that hampered Chris Archer once he left the Pirates, or I don't know if he had the surgery while he was with the Pirates or after he left, but in either case, it saps a lot of your power and ability to command your pitches initially. So if his command returns and he's able to get enough spin rates on the ball to kind of because he was never a high velocity lefty when he was pitching. He was never like 97, 98, 99. He was able to work at the lower speeds, and because of his arm angle and his extension and everything else, he was getting guys out in that manner, but he was dominant. Like, I don't think people remember when he first came up with the Rays and he had a cup of coffee, you can call it. He was just dominant. People were like, wow, look at this. He was like basically the Shohei Ohtani before the Shohei Ohtani. And no, it didn't work out, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that he can actually build health this year. And like I said, he threw in spring. He looked good. I haven't heard any setbacks so far. So hopefully he gets the AAA, and I'll see when they announce the roster. It should be, within the next few days, whether or not he's on it, and hopefully he has success there.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, what we originally, I think, signed him with a $7 million bonus. Pardon me.
Yeah, which is huge for the Rays. Like, he was a fourth overall pick, and so they had big, anticipation of success from him. So when I look at him and his potential, right, long term, let's say he can build strength this year, he could be a pitcher in the same style as Jordan Montgomery. I don't see any reason why he couldn't reach those levels, and then be of impact for a long time. And the Rays have stuck with him. I think he'll give them credit on that front. Like, they gave Brent Honeywell a long leash. They gave Brendan McKay a long leash as well. And I think that shows a lot of dedication from the Rays to try to give the guys as much of a chance to come back from injuries as possible.
Wow, I really hoped we get to see him too, man. He was exciting to watch early on. I'm looking here at other Rays that we have right now. I should some of them say the X-rays, and we're looking at, I think, Evan Longoria. He's still kind of hanging out there. He was, last I heard, he wasn't sure if he was going to retire or not, but maybe that decision's been made for him. I don't know. Tommy Pham, 36, was with the Diamondbacks, World Series winners, and now don't think he's really aligned with any team at the moment. Corey Kluber, he's retired.
Yeah, you can see some of the guys kind of anticipating maybe if injuries open up some positions that where they're going to get regular playing time. But
Yeah.
I don't think Evan Longoria is excited about being a bench role player. It's hard to fit into that role and be all right with it. Look at Joey Votto. Joey Votto is a good example.
Yeah.
Joey Votto's down in A ball right now,
Hmm.
working his way back into, from his ankle injury. But he's so passionate about the game and wanting to be there that he's doing that. Because of that, Joey Votto has a chance to be of impact. Because Evan Longoria has sat out the entire spring, it makes it a lot harder for a team to bank on him and to know what they're going to get when he's not really in game shape when he arrives. So for a team to pick up Evan Longoria would have to be like, let's say, for example, the San Francisco Giants, Matt Chapman has a serious injury and they need to replace him. They know Evan Longoria really well. They could possibly give him a deal and hope that he can run himself back into form to kind of fit that role again. But otherwise, if he's not getting regular playing time, I don't see him coming back, to be honest.
Yeah, which is sad because, like you said, I think he's an athlete who wants to play,
Yeah.
and like Votto, I mean, it's encouraging to see him out there. I think he was in spring training the first time up the other day at a home run, and it's exciting to be able to see those people continue in the game as long as they want. But then we look at Mike Zunino. He just retired, 33 years of age. And, maybe Mike had had his best years, but I always loved watching him. He had a lot of pop, and when he had to throw something to first or throw something to second. And then one of his predecessors, I should say, excuse me, one of the people who came after him, and we're talking about Christian Bethencourt. And I thought he had a lot of pop. So I was really concerned about what this roster was going to look like when it came to catching this year. But the Rays look they'd made some decisions about that just in the last day or so, hadn't they?
Yeah. Ben Rortfeld is going to be, a solid addition that deepens the Rays catching core. They got him from the Yankees. So the Rays sent Shane Sasaki over to the Marlins. And I like Shane. I interviewed him when I was doing In the Tank. And we had a really long conversation about, his past, growing up in Hawaii, all that kind of stuff. He's he went down to Australia for a winter and actually spent time down there and sharpened his tools. I think he could play a mean right field, and he has more pop than people give him credit for. He's very slender. He looks a little bit like Ichiro when he's at the plate, but he's got a bit more pop than that. He can steal bases, and he can probably handle all three outfield spots if you want. His road to majors with Miami is going to be a lot clearer now than it would have been with the Rays. The Rays are kind of like in a position right now where they had people, I don't want to say they were leapfrogging him, but there was going to be playing time issues essentially. So it's good that they kind of move some pieces around and open up playing time for other people. But they ended up sending John Birdie up to the Yankees. So in a weird way, the Rays are helping the Yankees DJ LeMahieu situation. And he's injured now to start the year. I've always said from the get-go that the Yankees are just, you know, injury. The old core is not going to sustain itself. So what the Yankees fans are going to get to enjoy is the fact that the new wave is starting to build momentum. And once Spencer Jones arrives, then it'll be a lot more momentum to it. But pitching wise, it's going to be a little bit rough without Cole. But anyways, they get John Birdie. He's going to be a good bench role player when DJ LeMahieu even comes back. He has a decent speed, which the Yankees had none of basically on the bench.
Right.
So they'll enjoy that. The Rays get the left-handed catcher they needed and wanted. And I'd been looking around MLB. I just didn't think they would actually trade with the Yankees or that the Yankees would trade with the Rays. So it took the DJ LeMahieu injury to force that issue on them. But so Ben is somebody I've had my eye on since he was with the Twins. He's always had all the tools. And if you've ever seen pictures of him on any site, he's got huge guns. He's a little bit like Tyler O'Neill and Yandy Diaz. So they've got a new workout mate, basically. But with that, he also had a circulation issue in his shoulder that ended up impacting his fingers, which changed color completely last spring.
Damn.
So I ended up taking him out of spring training. He had the year before that, he had knee surgery. He's had some oblique issues. So overall, he's just had a lot of health issues. And I'm wondering if Yandy Diaz's new workout regime would be something that benefits him. But at his age, he's not 27 yet. So for catchers, that's when you get into your prime. And what he does have as a catcher is elite framing. I know he had limited innings last year, so it's hard to rate. But with what he did show, he was in the top 10 in terms of framing when it came to getting strikes. So if you're looking at the strike percentage, he was among the top 10. His arm was rated above Christian Bethencourt's in terms of miles per hour. So he would have had the first one in the league if he qualified. He didn't qualify because he didn't throw enough or play enough games. But it shows the potential that he has in both framing and throwing. So He really does need more playing time at the MLB level. He's done really well in the minors when he has been healthy. So now it's just a matter of how patient are the Rays going to be. Well, what we've heard is they want to give Rene Pinto as much playing time as possible. So if Ben Roosevelt can actually stand in for 30% of the time, that might be all they need, and that might be all he needs to get to his next level and then build on that next year. So I like the ad. I think it's solid. If it doesn't work out, or if they need another option, they've got Frankie Mejia down in AAA who can
Right.
come up at any point. So I like it. It deepens an area where they were, a little thin.
So do we just have the one catcher?
Renee Pinto and
I'm
Ben
sorry.
Roosevelt. Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot about Renee. Thank you.
yeah. And
Um,
then Alex Jackson should be down in AAA with Frankie Mejia, unless Frankie Mejia has an opt-out clause in his contract, which is possible. But Alex Jackson is going to be in AAA at worst.
gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's looking pretty good. What are we looking at as far as the starting lineup, you think, for opening day?
The starting lineup. Oh man, I don't think they'll announce anything until the game actually is maybe 10 minutes away. The Rays are, I don't know, maybe a little bit before. I think doesn't MLB have a rule now for opening day where you have to announce it a certain time in advance so they can hype it, something like that. I can't remember,
Yeah. Let's
but
see.
I think you'll see Diaz. I don't know. Diaz leading off is an automatic. You'll see Brandon Lau hit second because he's facing a righty. After that, Randy Arozarena is almost a shoe-in in the third position. After that, I don't know if they'll go Austin Shenton right away or if they'll, slide in Harold Ramirez and Isak Paredes ahead of him. But it's possible they go with Shenton as far as, the lefty righty combinations. So I think those are probably automatics as well. Richie Palacios should be in right field. Jose Siri probably in center. Um, and then Caballero probably somewhere near the bottom of the lineup. I think you're going to see Rene Pinto behind the plate, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, unless they put somebody else instead of Harold Ramirez in the DH position, but I can't really see it with, facing a tough righty to start off the year. I know it's righty, but Harold pretty much hits everything, so it should be pretty good.
You know, as you always point out, injuries dictate everything. And
They
you
do.
never know what's going to happen with that. I was thinking that we would have both Josh Lowe and Aranda out there. And now it looks like we're not going to have either one of them for opening day. So Austin Shenton, he's going to benefit from that. He's going to be coming up. He was looking at signing a lease the other day in Durham, and somebody came knocking on his door. Hey, Austin, you get your bags ready and get ready to fly down to Tampa. Oh, you might want to give a call to your mom and dad in Seattle if they want to come down and see you too. So it happens in a breath. A change like it can happen. It's not like they sit around there and probably talking with his agent for days on end about the possibility. It seems like they learn about it all at once.
That's right. And the good thing is he probably will be with the Rays long enough to be able to pay all the lease for the entire rest of the season if ever he does need to go back to Durham. So now he's going to have the cash in hand instead of the minor league pay. So that's a big, significant, huge issue. And also, I mean, you never know, right? Like Austin Shenton has the kind of bat that could shine at a major league level. So I'm not saying that he's expected to be anywhere near the top rookies of 2024, but if you start off the year hot, things can start piling on for you and you can end up having a longer opportunity than you expect. And then next thing you know, when you look at the end of the year and your stats get all added up, you can be near the top. And then you never know. Like there are people that have done bigger things with less, basically.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm wondering what we're going to do because we have a lot of less this year. Uh, man, you know what? We're talking about Toronto being the opening season series, and then we got Texas right back behind them. So the first 7 games will be held in Tampa. After that, we got a couple of Colorado. Then we go to LA and face the Dodgers. Woo-hoo. But what totally mystified me is that in this scheduling, they decided we should face the Dodgers again the next week, and they're going to be here for 4 games in Tampa. That just kind of blew my mind. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Oh yeah. Well, before that, we've got the Giants here. I wonder if Snell will be ready by then. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an intriguing thought. I think no matter who you face though with the Giants, it's going to be tough. Jordan Hicks has looked outstanding. Logan Webb is no walk in the park.
No.
Uh, they have some really, really strong pitching. I actually like their pitching once Robbie Ray comes back more than the Dodgers pitching. So that tells you a lot. From, I think there's just too much expectations on the Dodgers pitching to be absolutely elite. Where I know their top of the lineup is going to be elite in there, and really their length of the lineup and is pretty second to none when you look at it on paper. Um, but their pitching has more question marks because they have Yamamoto who still has to make adjustments and still has to show dominance, in regular season games in MLB. He's never done it yet. And Tyler Glasnow, I know is awesome. Love him to death, but he's a 5 inning pitcher for the most part. Sometimes six when he's really on. He can get out of balance sometimes and kind of have those games where, he gives up three, he gives up four. So although I expect him to have a really awesome season, like I know you can get to Tyler Glasnow because there's not as much deception. You know what's coming with Tyler Glasnow. There's two pitches and then everything else is location. So that's part of why I think Ryan Pepio's ceiling might be higher eventually once he gets everything in a row. But the Giants shouldn't be overlooked. They are going to have a fiery team, a really good coach. They got Bob Melvin from the Padres, and now they have the influence of Mr. Dusty Baker in the front office that joined them as well as an advisor. So that can get people in the right mood for all those games. And I like what the Giants have done this offseason. I really do. I think it's more sustainable than what the Dodgers and Padres did.
Man, what I'm looking a lot with what the Dodgers have been is amazing, and I'm looking at the influx of a lot of great players, from Asia and from Japan. And you were mentioning Yamamoto. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think who was the gentleman who came to the Rays like 3 or 4 years ago. We kept him for was it Yoshi, and I cannot last name.
Tsutsugo.
You see a player sometimes come from another culture, and the ability to adapt is not always there. You are not. I'm not going to even talk about Otani, but I mean, I think man adapted as far as a player in life in general. It's unfortunate what happened this past week, and we won't go into all that. But the thing of it is, I look at Yoshi and I look at some of these other players, and whether it be Yamamoto or looking a little closer to home, Uwasawa. Do you think Uwasawa is going to be coming up soon? I don't know that
He was just
there's.
traded.
He was just traded.
Yeah, they traded him to the Red Sox for cash considerations. And I don't understand the move just because I know right now he looks bad. And in the spring, he had decent moments, but you could tell he's a pitch to contact guy, right?
Yeah.
Not going to be a swing and miss guy so far. So, but what he has is experience, and he does have great command. When he gets rolling and he gets comfortable with his surroundings, there's something to be said for having a guy in your back pocket that can throw, a 6 inning outing, save your bullpen, and have give up 4 runs, let's say. That's fine. Like that's a great addition. And that's what they gave the Red Sox. They gave the Red Sox length that they didn't have before in the rotation, behind the guys that they now have. And I like the guys they have. I think a lot of them have some things to prove, but I like it better even without Giolito than when they had Giolito in there because there was so many question marks with him. So now what you've done is you've given them the sixth starter that'll be sitting around and waiting. I don't know if they're going to use him out of a pen or if they use him with an opener. That's how I would use him. And uh, there's upside there because of his experience. And he's not a young guy. Once he gets settled in, and he'll be there with Yoshida, so he'll be getting comfortable. Like they're going to have, a strong Japanese influence that'll probably help him over there. So really what they've done is empowered a divisional rival again, twice today. Twice. I don't know.
Oh, I don't either. But it is kind of interesting because it's usually when a Rays make a trade, it's win-win for us, or at least, win-loss, or I should say, to somebody else. And it's usually so what Cleveland, we've done a lot with them. We've done a lot with the Pirates and some of the great trades we've had over the years, but not so much with people inside the AL East division. So I don't know. We'll see, brother. But well, I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like if he's going to be there, that there's somebody else who can maybe help him be at ease. The other thing is, these are not just people that are young kids out of high school. These are players who have already established themselves, in their own country, in their own league. So it's a little different coming over here, but I look forward to seeing him adapt. I just was so sad when I saw Yoshi a few years back, and I thought, man, it seems like there's something else we could have done to help him sink in, if you will. And I just felt like we may have came up short in the Rays organization taking care of that. Maybe, or maybe I'm just too daggone critical of the front office. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, no, you shouldn't love everything the front office does, right? No front office is perfect, and it's good to have self-reflection as well, right? Um, I think if you can do, let's say, 70% of everything better than all your opponents, then you're in a great spot. You're never going to be perfect. If you are, then you're not trying enough things. Like I know a lot of people like to look back at the Nelson Cruz trade as a horrible thing, but it showed fans that they were willing to go there. And like we saw with the Texas Rangers, who did the same kind of thing, bringing in Max Scherzer. In their case, it was an old guy, but injuries were even more of an issue with him. But it took them to where they needed to get to win the World Series. So I think it's great to see that the Rays are willing to force the issue when they have to. And I think, in both of these cases, it shows that they have too much talent really in-house.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is great. They brought it all in, they sifted through it, and they liked other options best. So good on them to kind of do the work to get to that point.
yeah, I felt like when they brought in Nelson Cruz, I was hoping he was going to be kind of a mentor for Mr. Franco, but I don't think that worked out. Let's see what we got here. Oh, you
Well,
had some. Go ahead.
we'll avoid that topic.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does
Anyway,
bring up one point though, Mark. Wander Franco is still on the 40-man roster. When are they going to move him off? When is that restricted status going to come into play, right? And it could be coming up soon, I would imagine.
I hope so, brother. Otherwise, we'll have Bill James saying something about it. Let's see here. What? Oh, your predictions. You put some predictions up today on what the 162 games will look like. And you want to give a few of those predictions on your list today?
You mean the expectations for the players
Yeah,
or
what the
or
annual
the
Rays prediction list where you had like number 10, Rays will hit double digits in home runs.
man, yeah. The this is a list that I've kind of gotten accustomed to doing, and I try to keep it. It forces me to be within reason, right? I can't get too outlandish with it because if I do, then it makes me look foolish in the end. And most years I can get fairly close to what it happens. There'll usually be one or two, maybe three that are a little bit off, but usually not too far. So I had it with 10 Rays will hit double digits in home runs. And that has a lot to do with the better bench that they have in house. I think that a lot of the guys they brought in might not be, 30 home run hitters, but they are, 15 plus home run hitters if they get enough playing time. So I think they're going to have a really deep roster in terms of hitting for power. Uh, the hitters are going to be 9 hitters are going to be under 25% strikeout percentage. What I was trying to get at with that is that I expect the patience of the Rays this year to be much better and to make the opposing pitchers work harder than they did last year. Last year, the Rays, what they did this offseason that I saw anyway, and I might be wrong, but when I take Fangraphs and I look at 2023 season and I look at the lowest weighted runs created on the Rays and the highest strikeout percentage, they got rid of all the worst ones. So they moved on from Manuel Margot, Vidal Brujan, all the guys that had performed the worst last year are gone. And they brought in guys like Richie Palacios, Jose Caballero, Johnny DeLuca, all guys that did extremely well. So what that tells me is that they're going to be much tougher on opposing pitchers, and that's great. I said 8 pitchers are going to earn a save. The Rays, they're not afraid to throw guys into the end of games when they have to. And that's been a staple of Kevin Cash for at least 3 years. So I don't expect that to change. I had 7 pitchers will make at least 10 starts. Now that one is tedious because it expects health, but I do think Jeffrey Springs will come into play and have at least 10 starts before the end of the season. Maybe he gets close, like maybe it'll be 8 or 9 starts in. I'm hoping for 10. And then you have the guys that are in there right now, which probably will get 10 before the new guys come in. You have Taj Bradley and Shane Baz. So even if Jeffrey Springs doesn't, get there, I think there will be 7 guys that get 10 starts. Hitters are going to manage 2.5 F/WAR or better. That's significant to me, because when I look at, let's say, last year, the Yankees, you look at how much, how terrible they were for the season, even though they had the AL MVP in their lineup. Like, think about that for a second. It's because everybody else sucked, And so the Rays scored the second most runs in the American League because they had a bunch of guys managing 2 F/WAR or better. And I think this year, more than ever, when you look at Randy Arozarena, Isaac Paredes, Yandy Diaz, I'll even put Brandon Lau there if he ends up sticking around long enough. Josh Lowe, and you have Johnny Aranda. I think those guys will all have 2.5 F/WAR or better as long as they're not out for too long.
Right.
So we'll see. But I think they'll get there. And Jose Caballero to me has the potential to get well above that as well. The hitters that are going to manage double-digit home runs and 20 steals. So that's showing the length of the lineup. I had it at 5. I think the speed and power combination for the Rays is going to pay off a lot of those one-run games. So I had that in there. 4 pitchers are going to get more than 10 wins. So I had Eflin, Savale, Pepio, and probably Taj Bradley, I believe, will end up coming back in time to get that.
Good.
Significant in-season trades will occur. That's I had it at 3. And I mean, we're not even started the season yet. They're making moves that are going to preemptively, block a few of those. But no, I think more than ever this year at the deadline, they're going to look at what they have. And if they're in any position to make the playoffs, they're not going to be shy to make those significant moves. So 3 of those. Pinto is going to have the second highest F/WAR among catchers in the American League. I've been following Rene Pinto since he was signed out of the International League. I've always trusted the bat. I've always felt that his bat was above average as a catcher. So the question was always the defense abilities. And when the Rays as a whole come out and are as strongly supportive of Pinto as they have been, that tells me that his defense is there. And watching him this spring, it's obvious. You look at the throws he's making to first base and gunning guys down. I mean, he's well within his realm now. He's commanding the field. To me, he's going to be a huge improvement this year on what the Rays had last year. And that's no slight to Mejia and Bethancourt. They have guns. I just think that they've taken it up a notch this year with Pinto. And the major player extension, I think they might not say it right now. And I mean, they have to put the whole Wander Franco contract issues to bed before they do it. But I think, you look at Josh Lowe, to me, he's the obvious choice, assuming he comes back healthy and can show another strong season. Now is the time to extend him and make sure that you have him locked up through his arbitration at an affordable rate and get a 1 or 2 year benefit after that. I don't think they're going to go much higher than that. And there's the outside chance that it ends up being Junior Caminero that gets the huge extension. Whether or not they go as far as they did with Franco is questionable, but you could be looking at 8 to 10 years, let's say. Junior is showing a lot more maturity than Wander Franco overall. So to me,
Right.
that was the last one I gave.
Well, I love this, man. If you guys aren't following Matt, you need to. He's on X.com, Twitter, what do you want to call it? And you can find him at Matt_Germain_, and that's at Matt, MAT_Germain, which is GERMAIN_. And Matt, when I saw this on Twitter today and I see the 10 listings there, all I could think of is if you did these in reverse, it could be like what the 10 days of Christmas. The 10 days of Rays. We should put this to music, and maybe we can get the Stranger Things folks to incorporate in their musical somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Off the deep end again, but I do love it, man. This is some great stuff. And I really was excited to see your listing on there for Pinto as well, the second highest FWAR among catchers in the American League. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I really do like where he's at. And like again, with catchers, I mean, one ricocheted ball can really affect them, and hopefully he doesn't get knocked around too much or beat up too much. But I think with Ben Rohrfeldt there, he'll get enough rest to actually help him out. And you just picture like if he's able to manage 100 RC plus or weighted runs created, or above, the Rays got between Mejia and Bethancourt last year 75 weighted runs. So they were 25% below the league average in terms of offensive ability. And the Rays still put up the second most runs in MLB. So now imagine if they're getting that production from Pinto, and Rohrfeldt can hold his own with a bat as well. So I think that's going to be a benefit. The bench and the catching position improvements in terms of catching are significant. Ahmed Rosario is a huge improvement on the bench. Obviously, he might get more playing time now with all the injuries, but I think the Rays are in to surprise a lot of people just because of the length of their lineup.
Well, I do want to remind people, like I said again, where they can find you on Twitter, because I think they need to see your scouting survey you've got up there, buddy. You just put up there and see. Well, tell us what you're asking folks to participate with. It's because it's looking like you got a lot of people already cranking in there.
In terms of the survey that I have in.
Yes, sir.
So I like to get people's temperature, and I think the off season's now coming to a close. There's a few deals still rolling in, but I think fans sometimes have a quick twitch response to the off season, and it's fun to look back on it later on and say, were fans right? And I like to throw these out. And this one asks, on a scouting scale from 20 to 80. So 20 is the worst, 80's like elite. How would you rate the Rays off season and this year? So far we're only 3.3% say it's terrible. And that's encouraging because a lot of people are pessimistic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, 27% say underwhelming. So total of 30.3% are not exactly enthused by the Rays off season. And I get it. Like Tyler Glasnow was a huge fan favorite. They've seen the entire rotation on IL that we have. I get the pessimism. I really do. But I think when you look at how they've mitigated that by the returns of what they've added and what they have coming, and that's what I'm most familiar with. So that's why I'm so encouraged and confident in what I say. The amount of talent they have in AA, AAA pitching wise tells me wholeheartedly that they will be able to plug the holes they get in season. And that's more than I can say for a lot of other teams. So 62% are saying it's a solid off season. I'll take it. That's outstanding. And God love the 8% that are saying it's an outstanding, 60 to 80 grade off season. I love you. The optimism is something that I live with every day. For the most part. There's frustrations in here, once in a while. But if you have a chance, get on there, vote. And so far, it seems like we're still in the positive. So you have 70% of the fans that are fairly confident with the offseason. They're happy with it. I think what it points to more than anything, Mark, is that Rays fans understand the process now. Like they're in on it. Like they trust the front office. They've been proven wrong too many times now to say otherwise. And I remember being on the hype train when they offloaded Longoria way back when.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
said, they're giving the room to Kevin Cash. And it's exactly what they need to do. Fans were in an uproar. They were raging. They said, no way. It's terrible. It's going to kill the franchise. Nobody's going to want to sign there ever again. And we've had 5 seasons of playoff baseball since. So I love the fact that it shows the Rays fans are in on it and they understand the process.
That's true. And I was one of those people too about Longoria. Not as vehement as some folks. And some members said, well, I'll never watch another game of the Rays again. How could they do this? This Neander guy, he hasn't got anything figured out. And they were wrong. He did. Man, as Eric had that figured out. So, like I said, it looks like these folks that respond to you are true people as far as true Rays fans, in the sense that they do understand that it isn't all set in ink on day one of opening day, that there's going to, whatever those things happen off season, usually there's some thinking behind it, and there'll be changes as the season begins. So exciting stuff here, Matt. Again, you can find Matt at.
I'm going to make some bold predictions tomorrow. So,
oh, really?
Stand by for those. Yeah, that's my next step. Right before, opening day. Opening day is a good day to make your bold predictions, the ones that everybody's going to ooh and ah about, gets them working hard on X, and then they'll be hyped for the whole day, and a couple of weeks jabbing you at it.
All right. Yeah, like we weren't going to give you some grief when you were saying not winning all four of the first games in opening series here, Matt, or that we were talking last week and you're saying, hey, you remember those 13 games we won straight at the beginning of the season? Ain't gonna happen. It's like, what? Yeah. Come on, man. I want those.
To see it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be proven wrong.
Well, put me with the 8% for outstanding, and blinders on and positivity. But I love it, brother. Well, again, I want to thank you, buddy, for joining us here today. Is there any nuggets you want to share with folks above and beyond what we've said?
Watch the games, go to the games, do whatever you got to do to get to a park at some point when you can help it, and get hyped for the season. No matter how it turns out, it will be worthwhile. All the stories that we get and all the ups and downs are part of the process, and enjoy it. And it's the last night that we won't have regular season games, for across MLB. Before everybody gets going. So enjoy the hype, get on there, spread the love of the game, and enjoy it.
All right. That's Mr. Matt Germain. And again, you can find Matt on Twitter at Matt, M-A-T _ Germain, Germain _. And he's always has some great comments, some insights. You can tell his skills as a scout. Matt, once again, thanks again for being here and sharing those insights with the audience.
Always a fun time, Mark. Anytime.
All righty. Okay, thanks again, everybody, for joining us here today, and we look forward to talking with you again real soon. Just remember, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Pandora, Amazon Music, and, of course, here, and also on BaseballBizOnDeck.com. Please go ahead and love us, like I said, and leave your reviews. Also want to leave special thanks to X Take RUX for the music rocking forward.